This will be a video on how to set up dual deployment in RockSim Pro. This is much different than what you are used to in RockSim. So let me show you what this looks like. So here we have the Peregrine rocket, and this is an apogee rocket. And we have two parachutes in here. We have a large one up here in the front and a smaller one in the back. Now in 3D color, I have the bigger one as red and the smaller one as yellow so that we can tell them apart in the flight visualizer. So let's load a rocket motor in here. And I'm just going to choose a big motor here. I'll choose Aerotech 148R and make it a 14-second delay. But since we're using electronics, it's going to ignore this delay. So don't worry about what delay. In fact, I'll just turn it to plugged so you can see what happens. And click OK. And now we're going to go to the flight events. And here are our two parachutes. Here's the smaller one and the larger 48-inch parachute. So now the smaller one is our apogee parachute. So we're going to choose under the test criteria, we're going to choose apogee. And that's pretty normal. Now the main parachute, normally in RockSim you would just set an altitude. So let's say that we wanted to have this rocket deploy the main parachute at 600 feet. So normally you would just type in 600 feet and have an altitude here. But what happens is in RockSim Pro, with more control over it, it's going to say anytime this rocket hits an altitude of greater than 600 feet, it's going to deploy the parachute. It doesn't know whether it's up or down, whether the rocket's going up or coming down. And so right now it says anything greater than 600 feet. And that's by default. The greater than sign is by default in RockSim. So you have to watch out. So here's what would happen when you run the flight profile. So I'm going to go ahead and do that simulation real quick. And if I kind of peek over here on the side, you can see at 600 feet, this rocket, that's about as high as it went, when it should have gone a lot higher. So here's the rocket sitting on the pad. Let me make the screen a little bit bigger for you. Let's look at it from a trajectory view. Okay, so here's the rocket right down there. Let me zoom in a little bit. I'll move it down here at the bottom, and let's launch it and see what happens. So the rocket takes off. It's coasting upwards. Oh, you see that? It was going really fast. And then all of a sudden the parachute came out. And what parachute came out was the smaller one. And then the rocket came back down to the ground. So you can see it's going really fast. And then, ooh, yeah, it probably shredded that parachute. Did you see that right at the very top? Let me pause that. Let's go back up here to the top. And okay, so we're at 627 feet. Let's zoom in. You can see there's the big red parachute right there. And let's back it up just a hair. 622 feet, 616 feet. Okay, at 600 feet, right there, parachute popped out. And that's what we told it to do, is say pop the parachute out, anything above 600 feet. And sure enough, that's what happened. And then it's dragging the parachute upwards, and then it hits apogee, and then at the apogee we said, hey, throw out the drogue chute. And so now we have the drogue chute out. So what we need to do is we need to set up the simulation different. So let's go back here to prepare for launch under the flight events. Okay, so now instead of saying at an altitude, let's say that the rocket has to reach apogee first before anything happens with this main parachute. So we're going to choose apogee here. Now you notice they're both apogee. So we need a second criteria here. And that's where this comes in, this little plus sign. We're going to add a new criteria. So I'm going to click on that. You can see it just added another row. And it says deploy now. But we want to change that to an altitude. So here is altitude at the top. Select that. Now we can go 600 feet. But this time we want to say anything below 600 feet. So the rocket has to go to apogee and then has to be coming down before the main chute is deployed. So under this criteria, the rocket should do dual deployment. So let's go ahead and confirm that by going to the flight profile again. This launches the flight visualizer. Okay, so here's the rocket on the pad. Let's go back to the trajectory view. Okay, and then zoom in a little bit and go launch. See what it looks like. So the rocket's going up, and this time it's coasting a lot higher. I have to zoom back out. Okay, so there's our green dot. Indicates we are under hit apogee, and you can see it's falling. You saw that it was yellow, and then all of a sudden it turned red. So let's pause it. Let's back it up to this point. Okay, so we're here at 645 feet. And as it comes down to 600 feet, okay, we're at 599 right now, 600 feet, that's when the main parachute popped out. So now we have confirmed that dual deployment did work, and the rocket is coming down under the main chute. And under main, it drifts a little bit further. So we would probably want to set our main to come down at a lower altitude. Let's try that real quick. So let's do 300 feet. So under flight events, instead of being 600 feet here, I'm going to highlight that, change that to 300 feet, hit tab, and then let's go to the launch visualizer again. Okay. All right, and let's go to trajectory view. I'm going to bring it down to here. Let's launch it. Rocket's taking off. It's coasting upwards. Still going higher than we thought. Same altitude, but now it's coming down. And let's pause it right here. So if we zoom in right there on that rocket, there it's under the yellow parachute, our small drogue chute. Let's go back out, and we're at 677 feet here. Okay, so the main parachute shouldn't pop out until we get to 300 feet. Okay, we're at 354 right now. And when we get down to 300 feet, the main parachute popped out. And now it's drifting down, but not quite as far as it did the last time. So that is dual deployment. So I hope you understand that it is a little bit different. It's a lot more fun in RockSim Pro because we can actually see the parachutes coming out and see the different colors. As you noticed, the color of the parachute is what you design the color to be. So make your parachutes colorful so you can tell them apart when you're in the launch visualizer. So again, thank you for your purchase of RockSim Pro. We appreciate it. And if you have any questions, please come to the Apogee website and shoot us an email, and we'll be happy to answer you. So take care.